rise up, rise up, rise up. They say it's to protect you, while they try to dispossess you of the right to decide between wrong or right, to openly discuss what politicians hide. They want to keep their secret plans from the public eye. We gotta keep our fires burning, keep our spirits bright. We gotta rise up, rise up, rise up. Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people. Money got no children, and bombs ain't for building, and killing ain't no way to make a peaceful day, as all of God's children can easily explain. We gotta keep our fires burning, keep our spirits bright, stand up and speak for what we know is right. We gotta rise up, rise up, rise up. Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people. I see days ahead. Kiss my children into bed. All across the planet I see that everything is fine. Yeah! Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people. We got the power and the will, and we'll do it for our children, for the warmongers and the corporate whores in the history books with the dinosaurs. I claim my power, I claim my rights, and no dirty tricks are gonna change my mind. I'm gonna rise up, rise up, rise up. I'm gonna rise up, rise up, rise up. Rise up, people, against the war. 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 Rise up.
Hello, this is Dan with the Veterans for Peace Forum. We do this program every fourth Saturday of the month, and I'm glad to be here. We won't do it during Christmas season, during the December season, but we'll be back again in January. I want to welcome you back to the program. A few months back we had some people here that were talking about Haiti, and we never could get through everything that we wanted to talk about, so I invited back Jean-Philippe Chevalier, and JP for short, and he's actually gone back to Haiti for during the earthquake, and was working with people there, and is planning on going back in December. So we have him on the program. We also have visiting here in Portland right now with his family is Ron Dexter, who just recently elected to the National Board of Veterans for Peace. He and I went out for lunch, had a great conversation. I'm glad he was still around to come on the program. I'm with Veterans for Peace on the local chapter 72 here. I also serve on the national board, and so it's a great opportunity to talk to another board member here in Portland. So I want to first kind of start off the show giving a little bit of history, JP, on Haiti's history, and then begin to talk a little bit about the earthquake and how you got involved. So if you could just start us off a little bit about Haiti's history.
Basically, Haiti was discovered by Columbus on December 5th, 1492. And then around the mid-1600, the French took over the east part of the country, and we became Saint-Domingue. And the Spanish still had the east side, so we were divided west and east. We had the west side and the Spanish the east side. And then we have also the revolution, the French Revolution affected the revolution in Haiti at the time. That came out to be the 1804 when we got our independence. This was also basically a hardship in Haiti in terms of building a government that can help. There were numerous people that were there to help out, but with the savoir-faire, meaning to put it together, has been very hard. The French also, we had to pay 150 million francs to the French. United States didn't recognize Haiti for a long time until half of the 1800.
And why was that? In a sense, wasn't that the idea that they were afraid of the
well, you're talking
revolution?
about slavery revolution, never done before.
Yeah.
Haiti was the first black republic. We have to mention that as well.
That's right.
Which I'm very proud of it as well to say. But the fear was basically a factor for the United States to kind of try to make sure Haiti was not gonna go spread that revolution all over the United States, because the black population in the United States was as well high too, and slavery was still.
Well, it inspired Latin America. It inspired.
Most of those countries down was taking from the Haiti revolution model. And then, so you're talking about all those years, and we even had the U.S. occupation in 1915, until 1934. Basically, that was a control, which, if we look at it, Haiti was going to a very, in terms of economic situation, and a very negative, perspective, and then we also have that class as well element into it. You're talking mulattoes against the black or the new free slave black. Mulattoes had opportunities even owing slaves, and because of their mostly white father, be very, the reverse would be very hard to having a white mother, and that happened, I'm pretty sure. But so you're looking all those times changing, and even European changing in terms of social, until we get to the Chevalier regime and what we have now, and the natural disaster that happened a couple of years ago almost, and where we are right now for Haiti. So my plan is to move forward.
Right.
When I say moving forward, is mostly to get a network system to spread all over Haiti, and mostly focusing on sustainability, where the country can survive by itself, the people can create their job, everything that they need to. Haitian people are so smart, and with the little they have, they create great stuff. We have a lot of engineers, doctors all over you know, and willing to, I'm pretty sure, going back to Haiti and do some major work. I know quite a few of them, you know, doing that already. So
then you, I mean, one thing we do have to kind of go back a little bit here is that, you know, because of Haiti having to pay its reparations, the economy can never get really fully kick-started. And then you have, I mean, there was the Baby Doc era, and you had, and then, of course, finally comes to Aristide, and then there were 2 coups. And the U.S. has been very actively involved in the various changes that have happened in Haiti.
Oh, for a long time.
For a long time.
For a long time.
And so, yeah, I mean, we have to, we look at that as sort of the colonial model that was out there, not just in this country, but all over the world. As a veteran for peace, I mean, I want to bring this, this is a program about Veterans for Peace, and one of the things that that we as Veterans for Peace are looking at is we are looking at how U.S. militarization in various areas have controlled the economic interests of this country, and through sort of gunboat diplomacy, we've enforced certain economic standards upon one country after another, and those benefit us pretty incredibly. But the thing is now, and I want to just mention, you know, there's something happening in the world. It's not just Haiti or you know, Venezuela or wherever it might be. We have what they call now the occupation movements, Occupy Wall Street, and in that movement, I just found out today there was actually Occupy Gresham here. A friend of mine was telling me, a World War II veteran who just sent me an email saying, Dan, you know, if you can get up tomorrow, this morning, which I could not. My Saturdays are a treasure to sleep in a little bit, and but they're going to have some meetings coming up, and I'll be finding out more about that as that goes on. But the thing is people are saying, you know, we want a better world for everyone. And we were talking earlier, you know, people want to be, I think generally people are good-natured. They respond to, like, the earthquake. They respond to natural disasters. When people, you know, even if they may have been enemies at one point, they come together, and they come together to help each other. I'm always surprised at how quick the U.S. and other countries come together to help each other in these kinds of natural disasters. And the Occupy movement is really saying, you know, this is who we want to be. We want to be that kind of person. We want to be that kind of human being in this world. And to do that, we've got to change the way things are happening here in this country. At the same time, you know, you're talking about Haiti wanting to develop its own self-sufficiency, and those are the things that you're looking at. So, as an individual that's living here now, might tell people a little bit where you came from in Haiti and how you came here.
I came early 80s, but started to travel early 60s, and I remember me traveling, myself traveling with my mother from New York to Canada in the early 60s, and I still remember that I was sitting in the back seat of the bus at that time, but now I realize that where I was sitting at that time that I was, and I even remember that, you know, my first Coca-Cola bottle, you know, me drinking it by myself, that was great. That was the best thing. And I kind of seen that change. I was very well into the same thing, Michael Jackson's. When I was a kid, I had those little 45, you know, everything. Every year we go maybe spend 3 months in the States, but my mother always wanted us to have a French education. And maybe at that time I understand that she was really scared about what was going on in the 60s. In the United States, you know, because she always like, oh, I'm not going to raise my kids in the United States. I never knew why, because there were a lot of my family members moved to Canada, New York, and they were doctors, engineers, computer scientists, you know. I had a great life, and I was blessed having a great life, be able to have even an education, come to the United States, do what I need to do, and film like everybody else. So I thank my mother in a way for the strength that she had given me in that sense. But I've been here even more than 30 years or so. When I say here, kind of move from, you know, this is home for me. In '85 I came to Oregon. I went to University of Oregon. And then I traveled to even in the Middle East. I was in Saudi Arabia for a year or so. Came back to Oregon again and start working in real estate, constructions and retails. But my age is turning to a point telling me it's time to give back.
Good. So and then the earthquake happened. When was that? In
January 12,
2010. And then
that basically changed my life in a way, in terms of looking at the human aspect of life.
And then, how soon did you head back over there?
Well, even the day I was on Skype talking to my sister that night, and getting some informations regarding the earthquake, the devastation that we had. I mean, we had like over 300,000 people passed away. A lot of those homes were basically pancakes, and then just that year came up the cholera epidemic as well too, at the same time. So as a matter of fact, Haiti is the highest cholera cases that they have down there.
Now in the world?
Now in the world, 5% of the population.
They weren't even prepared for it, and then it supposedly came from one of the United Nations.
I mean, that's 5% of the population.
That is amazing. And then you decided you wanted to go back. Did you form a group, or were you part of a group?
Yes, in 2005 we formed a group called the Haitian AFAS. Called AFAS. It's an association of Portland Haitian American for Services and Education. The mission is to help with mostly integration of the Haitian living here in Oregon. I did a lot of translation. I was a court-appointed for Multnomah County Court, working Judge Bennett, for example, in immigration. So I've done a good 3-4 years doing that for the Haitian community when we had the first coup d'etat in 1991. There were, you're talking about almost millions of Haitian fleeing Haiti to come here in the United States. That was a very high influx, and
a strong turnback too, wasn't it? I mean, there was a
they were. Oh yeah, I mean, the U.S. government wasn't letting them to come in just like that, but quite a few of them were, giving asylum. And basically spread them all over the place. Some of them came here in Oregon in 1991, 1992. So I was kind of busy giving part of. As a matter of fact, the result was those two that Fresnel and Benel. You know, they're almost the second generation, and now they have their own business. They're doing well. It's also where I found my pride. I'm looking at now. Hey, my God, I'm so proud of you of what you accomplished. Fresnel is a master in Taekwondo. He has his own school and is involved in Haiti. That's what we do. We kind of try to. He is also the president of the association AFAS of Portland Haitian American for Service and Education Organization. So, but also, one of the things too is the time. I mean, I have a family. I have to feed my family. Volunteer work is different kind of. You don't get paid for your work. You just it's your feeling. It's your guts telling you you need to do this.
We know that feeling, don't we?
well,
we know that because Veterans of Peace. We don't get paid. We do it because we
so it's a work of love. Just sitting here is it's what I call the giving back. And then it's sitting here and getting together and networking and sharing resources, which is the best thing. Any kind of media is good media.
Right.
So,
tell us exactly when you first went back. What did you see, and after that quake?
I was very anxious to go down there. I wanted to go because I wanted to see Haiti. I wanted to see. I mean, Haiti is. I think about Haiti every day. So I went down there. Very anxious to have Haiti Hands 2011 done. A lot of planification in terms of you have to do things quick, and a lot of kids on the street, a lot of cars going up and down, looking at a need for cleaning, a need for getting the rubbles away, and start a lot of garbage all over the street, lack of electricity, and basically basic necessities for to live a decent life. So when I started the project at Haiti Hands 2011 with Owen Fritz, is a designer architect as well. He's a very interesting guy. So we went down there and right in a place called Place Saint-Pierre, where they had tent cities, and so we look at it and say, hey, this is the place we're going to be with the kids, and there were 1,000 of them. So we created the play shelters, have a little education in HIV/AIDS, helping co-creating, work together, having. So the kids wanted that. You're talking about kids from all ages, 2, 3. We had some soccer balls, give them, and. So that was an experience of fulfillment for myself as well. I mean, I learned so much, and it's a question of trust as well too. Because when I approached those kids, the people from that part of town in Haiti, in Port-au-Prince area, didn't trust me for the first few days. They thought I was one of the people coming in and do the same thing, come in and go. They've seen it, and and so it took me a couple of days to gain that trust from them. Gain the open and say, okay, let's play together. Let's forget our problems and do the thing that that make us live better. So that was a learning experience for me, you know, going down there and be able to do this. We had also film everything. As a matter of fact, we have a TED presentation for Nike Design Day in May coming up. So that was well done, and I'm hoping, you know, to go down there again next month and do another type of structure, but to be a memorial more than anything else, where people can, you know, put a note, you know, so.
I know for somebody they lost, or
yeah, exactly.
A memorial,
a memorial, so to speak. And that's it. That's where I am, in one step at a time, I would say. You know, not rushing. There is always the political side of it, which I will rather avoid. You know, totally. Just enjoy what is, you know, is being done, and you know, it's tangible and we can see result. That's my focus more than anything else.
So is there a website or anything that you have, or is
www.theafaz.com.
Okay.
But also
we've got it up on the screen here for people, so we can see that.
Good.
And you also have an email that people can contact?
Yes, it's chevaljp@netzero.com.
Okay. We'll get that up there too.
So we also, I mean, we're looking at any type of networking, people to volunteer and have some ideas and give us a call or rather an email and see if they have any interest to keep Haiti alive, meaning keep thinking about Haiti and the people of Haiti, and for the reconstruction of that country. You know, I think it's a very important part of the continent, the American continent, and it has been too long that this little country, smaller than Maryland, cannot be, you know, efficient, self-sustained. And I mean, I remember Haiti has a culture tradition that is nobody can explain, even myself as a Haitian. And I miss that very much, mostly in that sense, you know, the people and the culture.
And there's a Haitian community here in Portland, and I remember going to an event after the quake, and there was music and food, and, you know, I mean, people need to find out who's living in your communities and become a part of, you know, learning those people's histories and cultures.
I'm pretty sure you had a good time.
I did have a good time, good food.
Yeah.
I'm always interested in food. When I travel, you know, whenever I get a chance, I mean, there's a part of everything that people teach you that like when I was in Italy, you know, food from one region to another region, and organic foods, and so it's always interesting to learn. And Portland has so many wonderful communities here. We're from Vietnam to Cambodia to Cuban and African, you know. And I've been for a long time, and my own family actually is. My father was born in Panama. My grandmother was Panamanian. So my grandfather was Irish American, working on the Panama Canal, and so he married her when he was in his 50s, and I think she was 21. And he'd already had a family like with 10 kids beforehand, and so my father and his brothers were born in there. The youngest one was born here in the U.S., but. Yeah, so it was interesting. My dad wanted to go back to Panama here a few years back, and couldn't prove he couldn't prove he was an American citizen. It took him a year to prove he was an American citizen to get a passport. You know, because people just accept it. You were here, you lived here, you've been here since you were in high school, you know, on and on. So it was just very difficult. I thought that was interesting. I haven't been there. You know, I want to go to Panama sometime in the future, which I'm sure I will. Yeah, no, this is very interesting. You have any questions yourself?
No, well, I was just wondering if the commitments made by Americans were actually coming through. You know, because everybody was saying they collected all this money and so forth as promises, and I just wondering if many of those
good question.
are.
Yeah, we were talking about that one earlier. I'm not an expert in terms of saying, okay, this is how much money has been allocated to the cause, and there's a lot of parties involved. You have the NGOs on one side. You have also United States government, who basically Obama asked Congress for almost $3 billion. We have also Clinton, Bush Foundation, and Haiti also holding a big part of the pie for allocation of funds, and they've been very kind of slow in allocating money to, you know. I cannot really say, well, here's the reason why they don't do this or that, because I don't really know. But I will presume that they're looking for a substantial type of project, and for me, I always have a positive. You know, I'll say, hey, okay, you guys want to do something. I want to make sure that there's enough planification. There's a strong infrastructure, and not going down there and patch a couple of walls and say, hey, we're done. You know. Another thing that I'm scared of is if we don't keep the voice high enough, that money is not gonna be there, and 3-5 years from now, the situation might be even harsher for the Haitian people. So I would say all parties, NGOs, governmental commissions, whatever they are, organization, private, non-profit, profit in Haiti, to basically get together, you know, mobilize in a way, you know, sit on the table like we're sitting and say, well, this is what we need for Haiti, you know, by the Haitian people. And not, no, well, we're coming here and this is what I'm giving you. I think that's going to be a better approach, a better way of coming and solve the problems that we're having. But just having a chaotic type of environment will not bring any, you know, positive results.
Something more in the vein of the Grameen banks in Bangladesh, where it's bringing people up from the bottom and giving people loans so that they can bring themselves up, other than trying to dictate what some NGO thinks is all.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have some programs that can be implemented in Haiti and see some good results. We have, you know, the micro loan type of things, and all those things can be implemented. Education, we can find a computer for thousands of kids to be able to learn and be connected to the world, and, you know, find some way of, you know, better themselves, because basically Haiti is the population is half of it, almost 15 years old average. So you're talking a generation in 5 years that coming up has nothing, you know, to do. I mean, what do you expect? You know, you living in a survival type of environment. You know, what do you have? You know?
Well, and you're talking now in the world. We're talking about an economic crisis in countries all across the world, And that raises a number of issues of how the economy has been working in the past, which is oftentimes at the exploitation of other people. And now we're looking at, I think these Occupy movements are basically saying we have to restructure the way our economy works. And hopefully, when people start looking at this, and it's a global movement, it's not a U.S. movement or an Egyptian movement. It's a global movement that is beginning to say, look, we can no longer operate our economy in the same way that we've done before. We have to look to a new model. And it's going to be the young people that are going to figure that out. I mean, I don't have an answer for it.
Well,
I see new things.
Young people, they have to have at least a startup model.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot just say, "Oh, the young will take care of it." We can just our generation can just keep going and do the same thing we're doing.
No.
We cannot hope that. As a matter of fact, I'm very scared that the new generation won't know what to do because they're not connected.
Well, maybe in some places, but I'm talking about the people that I've been around in the movements are very intelligent and extremely, extremely bright, and have looked at not only the history of the world and the economy, but are very brilliant. They're technicians, they're engineers, they're doctors, they're lawyers, and they are incredibly brilliant people. In fact, I've been talking with people who have been actually economists who have gone to Greece and Venezuela and other countries who are actually helping that dialogue going. But it's the young people that are saying, look, now we don't want to do things in the way it was done before. We don't want a revolution that's violent. We want a nonviolent revolution. We want to proceed in this world where we're looking at human beings before profit. Mm-hmm. The profit will still exist. I mean, people will continue to do that. It's the degree in which people operate, and I think that is one of the things that we're starting to look at. I think there's also people need to know their history. It doesn't mean that they begin and say, we want to move forward, like you said, but at the same time, you can't move forward without knowing where you've been.
Oh, yeah.
And absolutely. There's a great book here that I want to recommend. It's called Damming the Flood, Haiti and the Politics of Containment by Peter Hallward. It's a fairly new book, a few years old, and it does give a brief history of Haiti, but it has a huge bibliography on a number of historians. But it also covers the two coups of Aristide and the reasons behind it and the people that are involved in that. It's a good book for anybody that's really interested in what's going on. But at the same time, we also have to look at how, in fact, we as human beings play a part in making a better society. Part of what we have to do, and now I want to get into talking with you a little bit, is Ron, you're now newly on the board of Veterans for Peace, but you've been around for quite a while. Now you were Korean War.
Korean War. Yeah. Well, I wanted to be an engineer.
You wanted to be an engineer.
Korean War interrupted. Yeah. Navy promised electronics school, and the Navy canceled all promises right as I got in, and I think they still do that today. But anyway, the evaluator gave me electronics school plus another school, and I don't think he knew what the other school was. So another 8 weeks of spy school and get sent to Japan for 3 years to listen to the Russians. Mm-hmm. As an electronics technician, I fixed equipment and repaired equipment. In Japan, I found Japanese students who knew a lot more about my country than I did.
Right.
They were very kind to not point it out, which, Japanese don't want to embarrass themselves. They don't want to be embarrassed, and they don't want to embarrass other people. But I became very close friends and did a lot of traveling in Japan, and found that what I thought my country was all about wasn't quite that accurate. And coming back to the States was like as strange as going to Japan was in the first place.
Right.
The things I didn't see, I didn't notice. And I attempted to make a book while I was in Japan. The Family of Man came out at that time. I don't know if you've seen the book, but it was about people, it was pictures from all over the world as this is what humanity is all about. And it really knocked me out. But my photography wasn't quite as good as that. I'd get good interviews of people, but sometimes the pictures weren't up to publishing quality. So from there to Berkeley to take international relations and poli-sci and so forth. But not having enough credits, I had university requirements, department requirements, lower division requirements. I had all kinds of science requirements already done. So it was just satisfying requirements.
Right.
Somewhere along the line, I got interested in film, and I had a girlfriend say, you know, you're not a scholar. Why don't you go do what you're really good at, which is take a picture. So I went to Hollywood and got a job fairly soon because I knew how to build a house. I knew electronics. I knew a little about sound. I knew about some of the things that were important, and kind of floundered around doing all kinds of stuff, and then ended up shooting TV commercials for 30 years. Did some positive spots. Most of it, though, was selling junk that neither the public nor the planet needs.
Right.
We did political stuff. We did environmental stuff, too, kind of to salve our conscience, I guess. And then somewhere along the line, it really sunk in that, wait a minute. Especially when I remember Earth Day the first Earth Day was kind of a shock. I said, you know, we're the problem. We're the ones causing all this consumption and waste and everything that's going with it.
Right.
And so I just lost all heart in that, and retired and went into producing and shooting different public service things. Did State of the World Forum with Mikhail Gorbachev, the first one. Interviewed incredible people. I mean, anyway, and cut all that together into a talking heads video that we couldn't give away at the off-ramp at Santa Barbara. But it was an education going through all that material and listening to all these world notables and leaders talk about where the planet is and where it can go. And there were a lot of optimistic people, but a whole lot of pessimistic people too. Now this is in 1996, and things have gotten a whole lot worse since. And I remember back Bill McKibben saying in End of Nature way back 25, 30 years ago that we better turn things around,
right,
or else. Well, not much has been turned around. So once the Iraq War started, second Iraq War started, it was very obvious to me that there was a problem. That this was a bunch of lies. I felt that the first Iraq War was a bunch of lies too. And we were marching in the street.
Before you get there,
yeah.
What about Vietnam War?
I was not involved. I was so busy.
Is that right?
I was so busy during that time that I just...
How could you miss it?
Well, I was involved. I was involved with the anti-HUAC riots in San Francisco. But one of the things that...
Explain to people what that is.
That's the House On-American Activities. Was there in San Francisco interviewing, trying to get people to say they are commies or not.
Or say your friends were.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of, Berkeley being Berkeley.
Right.
This is before free speech movement.
Yeah.
But the activists bothered me to some extent. That the really cool heads weren't in control, and the more, one comment was that once the revolution comes, the party cars will be the confiscated Porsches. I mean, it was that, but these are kids, at that age, just like the kids today. You can't expect them to see things all that clearly. Now, once I got heavy into commercials, environment was probably the thing that I was most involved with. We tried to ecologize the film business. Well, it's one of the most wasteful businesses on the planet, and we accomplished a few things. The problem, and we come out with this booklet after months and months and months. The problem was, we kept saying, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this.
Right.
Instead of, you can save a lot of money if you don't order quite as much, and everybody doubles the order to protect having the stuff and figure ways like paint, we use paint like crazy. Give the paint back where it can be used. And that finally came. We actually got the plywood manufacturers to find a substitute for Luan plywood to make sets, which is rainforest mahogany. Well, that's one of the things we accomplished. Now, they're still using a lot of Luan, but it was something positive. But most of it was too much don't instead of do.
What you could do. Yeah.
And then came along recycling, much to the bottling industry. Oh, they screamed about it. They were really upset about it. But the thing about recycling is it's something, little positive thing you can do for the environment.
Right.
The problem is, and I had lunch with David Brower, and he said, no, I don't want a soft drink, I just want some water. Well, there wasn't any water available. And he said, you know, this can takes about 1/3 of a can of oil to send this through the recycling system. In other words, Mom buys it, refrigerates it, drives it home, the can gets drunk and crushed and driven back to the recycling center and melted down. And okay, that little piece of information really got me going on the environmental issue.
And then you come to the Iraq War.
Then I come to the Iraq War. I actually shot the first victory parade in Hollywood of the first Iraq War, and I didn't save it. But the best poster is this: the New World Order has a Third Reich odor. I thought, wow, that sounded like it is. So anyway, I retired from that and got involved in a lot of events that I, of course, shot videos of, and have all these finished videos that you can't hardly give away. But it was being involved in all these things was the education.
Right.
Looking for, like the Gorbachev event, we put all of it, I had all the interviews and roundtables transcribed and put into a database. So when you're talking about any issue, you go into the database and give you that. So there was no narration to explain what things were. It was people talking about it. We had Ted Turner and Jane Fonda and anyway, you'll have to see it someday. Then the second Iraq War came up, and got to do something. So we did street theater. We marched. We had 300, 400, 500 people in Santa Barbara march against it and so forth. And then a local, I'd call him a peace activist, not a veteran. Remember when they weren't showing the coffins coming back with the big
That's
issue?
right, yeah.
They didn't want the American public to realize that our troops were dying over there. So Stephen Sherrill built 340 crosses.
Oh, that's right.
And pounded them in the sand as a one-time statement. Well, the response was good, so he said, well, hey, let's do it again. So I came to the second event, and I've been there for 8 years. And we hope that we've made a difference. We hope that people have realized that have been at war, that our troops are dying, and the war's cost us a whole lot. And I think that cost factor has probably been a bigger issue at this time to turn Americans against these wars finally. I don't think, most people didn't know anybody that was over there dying, and that the cost was just another cost. Because I think people have a need to feel protected. So they support the police, they support the military, and they support any goon that acts like he's going to support people. And people vote for those people. And so I think we've got to take that into consideration. Americans generally, this is my own untested opinions, but I think that we have to approach Americans about war and peace in terms they understand. To talk about world peace, well, the world history doesn't show us that we're very peaceful people. I even believe that we have some genetic problems from way back when survival meant being violent, being aggressive, being spreading our our genes further and further. They say
I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, a lot of people respond that way, you know. When because I drop this by, when I see a couple, because I've talked to thousands of Americans at Arlington West.
Yeah.
When I talk to a couple, I bring that up and I say, well, you know, the men that survived were the toughest. They're the ones who just road rage and throw stuff at the television and so forth, and the women are going like that. And the women who survived were the peacemakers in the tribe, in the family, and they're the ones who had the most children, and their genes were passed on. And women are all going like that. And some guys, not me, I'm not. But it's very interesting that when you bring that up, you really get people to respond.
Well, I think I respond too. Let me respond a little bit too. And I think I always am cautious when they use the word like genes. I start thinking of genetics, right? You know, and I mean, then all of a sudden there's the salute, and people are this way because they're born to be that way, and you're born with in Christian religion, it's, you know, you're born with original sin. If you're Islamic, they don't have that, you know, or Protestants will say that doesn't necessarily exist. So when you say that, I do have a little bit. You see
it's
what
a
I'm
mix.
saying? It is.
It's a mix. Nurture, nature.
There you go. There you go.
And I've been reading loads on nature, nurture, because I think we have to take that into consideration.
I'll take it into consideration.
Because when, especially in 20-year-olds that have these raging hormones in there, and they got to get out there and be something and somebody, they're potential terrorists. They're the ones that, if they don't have a job, they don't have any future. We got to take care of those. Yeah. And as you said, your population in Haiti is what is it? More than half younger than 15?
Average 15 years old.
Yeah.
Well, and then we're just talking about the survival aspect of it, you know. I mean, you're getting to be an age where you don't have anything to show for.
Right.
You know, I mean, for me, I would say that I'm blessed, I'm fortunate. You know, I can have a place to live, I have a bed, you know, I eat, and but some of the people in Haiti, the youngest, I mean the youth, basically they don't have that. And I'm talking about 5 years from now, that average age is coming to an adult generation, you know, of 20 years old, ready to, and you're talking those big, huge guys, they need to express their what they have inside. So you're talking about they're gonna go and have some acts that's, you know. I mean,
but again, I disagree that it's
genetic.
It's a genetic, or I think it's more of a cultural thing that people are taught. I mean, people are taught to hate. People are taught racism. And you can undo these things. One of the reasons I raise it, and it struck me when Brian Wilson was speaking. And Brian Wilson's a member of Veterans for Peace. He's a veteran who lost his legs trying to stop ammunitions going to the Contras during the 1980s. And he's just on a book tour now. He's traveled all over the world. But he was telling about his time in boot camp, you know, and when you're supposed to take the bayonet and put it into the the dummy there, and you know, he was all, you know, he went in the military, he believed in the war, he believed in all this stuff, and he said he went to do it and he couldn't do it. It was like looking into the face of somebody, you know, and next thing the DI kicks him and knocks him on the ground and stomps on him, you know. And he said, you know, if he'd not said anything and he just told him to do it again, he probably would have done it. But the violence that it was, you had to be violent to make him be violent, that struck him immediately, that something inside him. And I know that happened to me, in a sense. You know, I felt the same way. And then I started reading a book called On Killing. You read that one? Yeah, with, what's his name? Lieutenant...
Dave Grossman.
Grossman. And he talks about that, you know, the average person in war, and he talks from the Roman Empire to the present, that, you know, people could not face to face kill one another. Oftentimes they had to create a distance between them, and that's where the spear and the arrow, and in fact in many of the wars with the Romans, he says when the major battles took place, is when the people were running away and they couldn't see their face and they kept going in the opposite direction. Now we have drones. Now we have computerized war, you know. And kids are taught on games. They play these violent games here, and it's not real, you know. It's
but
cartoon.
they're suffering now from PTSD too.
That's right. That's right.
So it's finally becoming watching the video of what is happening.
Well, if you're conditioned to do the thing that you know they try to make you do, you know, you're gonna have a post.
Well, that's why I say the natural. See, the natural is the post-traumatic stress is saying that isn't your nature. That is not what I believe in. That's not what I think. You know, as a human being, you become one. I know, and as a Vietnam veteran myself, and being in combat, the idea when I think about the close calls that I came to, or seeing my friends, I don't remember ever having to kill somebody directly, but I've talked to many people. I may have. There's a part of my memory that's gone, and that frightens me more than anything, to think that I could have done it or would have done it. But when I come to a point, there was a point in my life I just said, you know, we are all human beings, and that's my brother, that's my sister, and I am not going to work towards paying my taxes to buy guns. I mean, I have to pay my taxes, but I'm going to fight like hell to try and see that the monies don't go towards war. I would rather see them go to help Haiti, you know, or help the poor anywhere in the world, and to create, you know, a better society for people. So my nature, something inside me, what made me different than somebody who wanted to go to war? I don't think I am different. I think it's a natural thing. Most people I talk to that come to this point, all of a sudden there's something in their brain that is telling them this is not right.
I don't question that at all. Military training breaks that down.
That's right.
And they have that down cold.
That's right.
They do scientific experiments of just random off-the-street people who will commit atrocity without much effort. And so there's a lot to that.
Okay, we've got about 1 minute here,
Okay.
But it's good. I mean, these are the kinds of things that we need to talk about when I'm sitting around with people and we're having coffee somewhere. We get into these conversations, and I'm not going to just let them say something I don't personally believe. You know, in some ways, we're going to talk about it, and we're on the board, so we're going to be
talking about this a lot. Oh yeah.
But we're still working towards finding, you know, whether it is or it isn't, we're saying that there's got to be a better way in this world.
No question.
There's got to be a better way in this
question.
world. We both came to that conclusion, and we want to see that, you know, there's better ways to do this. So I want to thank you both for coming. Pleasure. And again, people can go to your website or email to contact you about what you're doing in Haiti. And we'll hear more from Ron as we go on in history. We want to thank you all for tuning in. And we'll come back. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.